At last, we are finally here. The season that separated the true fans from the wannabes, the one that expanded the new world beyond a failing kingdom and introduced Massacre to said world in one of the most gut-wrenching ways possible in a light novel. The anime, on the other hand, yeah, screwed that one up big time. However, it did not take away much since the season was packed with plot, politics, even romance, and we're going to cover all of that, including the adorable baby goats. Hello comrade, my name is Mahis. Come, get yourself a beverage and sit down with me, we got season 3 to look into. Going into a video that literally says things that you've missed in such and such season already implies something, but you know, these guys also went into a random ass tomb that appeared out of nowhere expecting to leave richer than they came. Unlike them, I hope you came prepared, for the corridors of this video are patrolled with high-level spoilers which will strike quickly and with extreme prejudice. The first warm-up segment will be dedicated to this young lady and her trying life. She is one tough cookie. Having her family Bruce Wayne along with a good half of the village, she had to pick up the pieces and, thanks to our Lord and Savior's generosity, succeeded to the point where she became the chief in just a few months. We didn't get to see her do much up to this point, so no wonder that a lot of people didn't catch or understand what's going on. Take a look at this scene. Obviously, she warned the goblins about the incoming attack and they ducked. Wrong. The goblins didn't just listen and did what she said. They obeyed, because Enri issued a command. Yeah, the same command that Mr. Jules is using, but on a smaller scale with more restrictions. And before that, we saw something strange while she was doing the dishes. It's almost like she wanted to let all of her frustrations out and bang the knife on something, damaging it. The scene reminded me of the time Mikasa pulled an Ackerman for the first time, and the thing is, there wasn't anything like that in the light novel, not as far as I can remember. In any case, those two situations suggest that Enri doesn't have full control of her abilities, or she's not fully aware of them yet. You see, this world operates as an RPG. For them, experience, tears and shit are like gravity, it just works, meaning that doing certain things gives you XP and you level up. What's so unique about Enri is not the fact that Mr. Banks has to chug stamina potions just to keep up. And yes, he did clap her cheeks there and they married and they lived happily ever after. But it's the fact that she went from level 1 to 6 in under 4 months. If you imagine a hut for our general, you'd understand that she has 19 summons active at all times. Everything they do, from slaying to filleting, counts as her experience, and that's why she gains levels, specifically in the commander and general department, which ultimately resulted in a summon so strong that even Ainz-sama couldn't find words to bullshit his way out. On the topic of bullshitting, let's talk about the dude who didn't even get a chance to do that, since the Emperor cracked him like a walnut. Fluter is definitely a force to be reckoned with by the New World standards. His list of accomplishments is as long as his distinctly gorgeous beard, including living for over 200 years and capturing a DK. He's akin to Orochimaru in a way, and is looking for magic and magic only. Even his loyalty is defined solely by how much benefit it will provide for his research. So it's totally understandable that he got a stiffy as soon as the very advanced spells were used right in front of him. However, we are told that he was made witness to Bone Daddy's power and should not be surprised that they can perform a tier 6 or 7 magic, when he literally just saw a 10th tier caster. Well, yes and no. You have to look at this from his point of view. For decades he's been studying, gathering information from every corner of the world to deepen his understanding of magic and how to use it. He has undoubtedly seen most of what this world has to offer in terms of magic casters, yet there's only one benchmark for him. Regret. We've seen this Overwatch cosplayer once, and she did drop some juicy lore, but it's her abilities that we care about right now. She is a necromancer, and also lived for over 200 years, which means she's about 6 tier 2. Gaining control over that Death Knight would mean that he has surpassed his only rival. But, all of a sudden, there's Ainz-sama, and Gandalf's entire world collapses. Fluter has reached the heights of what a human can possibly achieve, 6 tier. For context, 7th tier is some unattainable fuckery, while tier 8 is regarded as something mythical. Now, on the other hand, all the limits are off, he has seen beyond the veil and was accepted as a student of the Great One. Consider this as someone who has seen the Northern Lights for the first time. Yeah, sure, you've heard about them before and even watched a video, but that's nothing. At that moment, Fluter gazed upon magic so magnificent, so dazzling, that he couldn't do anything but be fascinated, even after learning what the future Sorcerer King is capable of. The next thing a lot of people don't get is the fact that this dude is one of, if not the best ruler we've seen in the entire series. I do understand why he's viewed as a bad one, because of his arrogant and smug look, bossing everyone around and so on, but he's a fucking emperor. He's in the position to do that and more if he so desires. Mahis, for fuck's sake, he's a dictator that destroyed all the opposition, killed the nobles, and manipulated everyone around him to do his bidding. So? Okay, right, if you're a noble, having your power and wealth stripped is certainly the least desired outcome, and you have all the rights to be mad. However, if you widen your tunnel vision a bit, the entire picture would be more grey than black, and in some parts completely white. The virtue of actions can only be measured by their consequences. There are flaws in that statement, because it's always a matter of perspective. However, what's more important than a human life? 2 lives? 10? 10,000? If you are a ruler, by definition, everything you do will upset some people. So when there are few that poison the lives of many citizens, the answer is pretty obvious. Remember what he said his ambition was? He wants to create a great empire that will stand the test of time. If you look to their neighbor's side, without proper leadership and some enforcement, it's a wreck. They're always on the brink of civil war because all they do is fight for land, money and power. Guess what? That's very, exceptionally short-sighted and not sustainable in any way, shape or form. We are shown time and time again how messed up the lives of regular people are. Misery, crime, non-existent protection, kidnapping, slavery, rape, torture, death, and even an entire fucking cult right underneath their noses. In the Empire though, people are full of hope. They smile because their lives are good and the future is bright. They truly believe that Gilgamesh has their best interest in mind, and they're correct. As we all know, the king is the unborn generation, and Elnix does everything to protect it, regardless of what it takes. Yes, he is ruthless, yes, he is willing to do the unspeakable, but at the same time, he's very pragmatic and even promotes commoners to high-ranking positions if they're capable of doing an excellent job. In many ways, he's just like Ainz-sama, who is widely considered a decent ruler, and if I was British, I'd say that this lad is bloody good. Speaking of Bone Daddy, I've already covered why he's smart based on his wits, then stats, and now it's time to look at what's going on behind the scenes. I'm not talking about the inner monologue here, as it's mainly for comedic and flavor purposes. Hell, cut it completely and none will question his brilliance. Having said that, Ainz-sama is showing us qualities of both a philosopher and an academic, even if he hasn't finished high school. As some smart dude implied, "Skio me nihil skire." For you uncultured ones, it's "I know that I know nothing," from Pluto paraphrasing sarcasm, which can be interpreted in many ways. One of them is about constantly learning. And this dude is all about that. Not only did he memorize everything about Nazarick and its denizens, in a short span of time mind you, he's always on the lookout for new things like knowledge and power, as well as mundane things like how to maintain an appearance, practicing poses, and phrases that will buy him time if needed. Which is also important as it allows us to go even deeper. He's quite self-aware, maybe a bit too much. The Supreme One knows that he is imperfect and that others might be smarter, stronger, or more resourceful than he is. That's why he often listens first, trying to get some ideas and opinions before voicing his own. It backfires at times, but what can you do? Ainz-sama is pretty crafty when it comes to that. For example, he has a notebook that contains all of his thoughts and phrases that he believes a ruler would say in a given situation. Moreover, in Season 4, he was chilling in bed with some leisure book, which he later changed to a more sophisticated one in case somebody finds it. So yeah, the Sorcerer King is doing everything to live up to that Overlord persona by doing actions that include but not limited to studying, mirror training, and of course, bamboozling. Alright, it's time to address the most poorly adapted part of the light novel, the infamous Massacre. Putting the CGI aside, because it was merely a technical problem, there are some errors, confusion, and limitations. Firstly, let's establish the fact that it's impossible to fully transfer the events simply because censorship won't allow it, as it was indeed a brutal slaughter that left a mark on the entire world and heavily influenced the events moving forward. The part where 70k soldiers drop dead is actually pretty accurate. However, the baby goats are completely different in the light novel and much more terrifying. If you are to look at these clips, tell me, what's more scary? A large, slow and inevitable enemy, or a swift and erratic one? Both of them mean certain death, but for some reason this is much freakier and exactly what the Dark Young should have been. In the novel, they are smaller and way more agile. When Ainz-sama said that they will rampage through the enemies, he meant it. Literally, an entire page of the book is just one word, splat, over and over, and you can guess pretty easily what makes that splatting sound. The anime did show that, but it was so slow. Then there was this dude asking if this is a dream. Alright, I guess. Still, it didn't feel that gruesome. Maybe because of the lighting or production decisions, it's just meh. One scene that wasn't too bad is when the Sorcerer King's army arrived, highlighting the sheer disbelief on Nimble's face after such a big dick power move. There are two reasons for that. The transportation speed, since he thought it would take days to bring those troops here, and the actual composition of the force. The anime cheaped out for something that would only appear for a few seconds, and only included Death Knights, when in the novel it looked something like this. 200 DKs and 300 Nazari guards, all mounted on Soul Eaters, those flaming horses from Season 4. For scale, 3 of them were responsible for over 100,000 beastmen lives taken in one of their cities, and here we got 500 of them. Yep, no chance. Oh, and since I like smooth transitions, I'll clear something up about Gazef and his duel with the Supreme One. The reason for the episode being called PvP, as well as Ainz-sama killing him instantly using his best strategy, can be explained with one word: respect. He had such high regard for the royal head warrior that he accepted his conditions and treated him as equal, fighting him as he would a max level player. Overall, this was a decent season. Again, god-awful 3D aside, we've seen major political plays, Nazarick on the day off, and our favorite Ainz-sama absolutely destroying people. This time, however, way more innocent people got the short end of a stick, but it's to be expected when you're watching a title called Overlord. It was I, Mahis, sounding evil into the microphone. Have a great, whatever time of the day you have. Until next time, cheers.